Hey guys, welcome back to the Fergie Time podcast. Today I'll be sharing with you my Matchweek 3 Premier League predictions. Before I jump into my Matchweek 3 predictions, I want to do a little recap of Matchweek 2. In Matchweek 2 I got 6 out of 10 predictions correct, moving my total to 11 out of 18. Some major upsets from Matchweek 2 included Crystal Palace beating Manchester United and Villa beating Sheffield United. Also, major shout out to this week's winner, Ferris, who got 7 out of 10 predictions correct. If you guys would like to be featured in next week's video, make sure to comment below your Matchweek 3 Premier League score predictions, and the person with the most predictions correct will receive a shout out. For our first match, we have Brighton versus Manchester United. Brighton are coming off a 3-0 win against Newcastle, and since the Premier League has begun, they've looked absolutely brilliant. The combo of White, Dunk, and Webster defensively has looked really solid, and on top of that, in my opinion, their best player has been Tariq Lamptey, who is a high-flying right-wing back that brings so much energy to the game, versus a Manchester United side coming off a terrible 3-1 loss against Crystal Palace. United's attack recently has looked very disjointed, and their defense has had problems and issues as we have known for quite a while now. In my opinion, this will be a super close match. However, I do get the edge to Manchester United 2-1 on odds of 3-4. Crystal Palace versus Everton. Crystal Palace have looked brilliant thus far, winning 2 big matches against both Southampton and Manchester United. In particular, Zaha has been absolutely fantastic. In 2 games, he scored 3 goals. On top of that, Palace's defense looks really solid and super robust. Very hard to break down. Versus an Everton side, also in brilliant form with wins against Spurs and West Brom. The midfield signings of Hamas, Alon, and Decore have really worked out for them and made a big difference. And in particular, Hamas has added a level of creativity and class to Everton that is very hard for other sides to match. I had this game ending 2-1 to Everton on odds of 11-10. West Brom versus Chelsea. West Brom have looked nowhere near Premier League quality in their first 2 matches, conceding 8 goals. They really struggle to keep the ball at times, and that puts them under a lot of pressure, under which they eventually crack. And on top of that, they lack a true goal scorer up top. Versus a Chelsea side that looked alright in the first half against Liverpool. They will also have Chilwell back from injury and may have Pulisic and Ziyech returning as well, so that will give them a massive boost. And in my opinion, Chelsea will dominate this game in terms of possession and also chances, so I have it ending 3-0 to Chelsea on odds of 4-11. Burnley versus Southampton. Burnley lost 4-2 in the season opener to Leicester, and it was really a poor performance, but it's not surprising considering the club failed to invest this summer. That said, I think Burnley will settle in a little more because it was their first match, so I do expect them to play better. Versus a Southampton side also in poor form. They haven't won in their first 2 matches either, and as we've seen against Spurs, they're really susceptible on the counter-attack. The good news for Southampton is Danny Ings is back to scoring after 2 goals in the Spurs match, so expect him to be lethal in this one. I have it ending a 1-1 draw on odds of 23-10. Next up, we have Sheffield United versus Leeds. Sheffield United coming off back-to-back losses to Villa and Wolves. They're a team, in my opinion, suffering from second season syndrome. I think defensively they're quite sound, but their attack is not consistent enough. I'm not a big fan of the McGoldrick-McBurney duo. Versus a Leeds side coming off a 4-3-1 against Fulham. They're a fit enough team to run any team in the Premier League into the ground. I really like their attack of Bamford, Rodrigo, Click, Hernandez, and Costa because it's dangerous and fluid, and they're just a fun team to watch in general. I had this one ending 2-0 to Leeds on odds of 13-8. Tottenham Hotspur versus Newcastle United. Tottenham Hotspur coming off a 5-2 win against Southampton in a quite impressive result. Reguilón will also be joining their squad, which will give them a massive boost. In my opinion, the Spurs team is carried by Harry Kane and Son, so as long as they show up, they should be alright. However, I think an interesting question is, could Newcastle's passive style potentially throw Spurs off? Versus a Newcastle team coming off a 3-0 loss to Brighton, and despite their new signings, they struggled to create chances going forward. I think they will struggle to attack against a very solid Spurs defense. I have it ending 3-1 to Tottenham on odds of 9-20. Manchester City versus Leicester City. Manchester City are coming off a 3-1 win against Wolves, and they played some really great football. Kevin De Bruyne in particular was absolutely fantastic. Hands down the best player in the Premier League. However, they will be without Aguero on this one, and I do question Jesus' finishing at times, so I think that could be interesting. Versus the Leicester side coming off a 4-2 win against Burnley, and while they're a very solid team and are in some good form, I do question whether they're as good as they were last year, and as a result, whether they can get those big wins away. The key for Leicester will be putting Ndidi all over KDB and making it very difficult for them. So I have it ending 2-0 to Manchester City on odds of 2-7. Next up, we have West Ham United versus Wolves. West Ham are coming off a 2-1 loss against Arsenal. They played alright, but struggled to finish their chances. I think they have some great players, but really lack an identity. A dangerous player in particular for me is Antonio. I think he's a hard player to mark and can create mismatches. Versus a Wolves side coming off a 3-1 loss to Manchester City, where they started really slow but played very well in the second half. They also signed Semedo, which I think could be interesting. He'll slot into right wing back and allow Traore to play higher up the pitch, which I think will be absolutely massive and give them a big boost. I have it ending 3-1 to Wolves on odds of 21-20. Fulham versus Villa. Fulham are coming off a 4-3 loss to Leeds, and in their first 2 matches, they have conceded 7 goals. That said, they have quite a player, Mitrovic, who's an absolute true goal scorer. I expect him to strike again for Fulham in this one, versus a Villa side coming off a 1-0 win against a 10-man Sheffield United side. While Fulham have Mitrovic, Villa has some really talented attackers as well, in the likes of Ollie Watkins and Jack Grealish. I think this will be a high-scoring game. I have it ending 3-2 to Villa on odds of 6-4. For our final match, we have Liverpool versus Arsenal. Liverpool are coming off a 2-0 win over Chelsea, where Thiago is absolutely brilliant, and I think he will be a game changer for them this season. I also really like Fabinho at center back. I think he's an upgrade over Gomez because he's calm on the ball and a really good tackler. Versus an Arsenal side coming off a 2-1 win against West Ham, and it wasn't their best performance, but they got the result, which is all that matters. Gabriel was brilliant in the back, per usual, and Arsenal looked like a team with a new mindset, a more defensive one, which is really good to see for them. In my opinion, I think this will be a very close match. I have it ending 2-1 to Liverpool on odds of 9-20. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to leave your Match Week 3 score predictions down below in the comments to be featured in next week's video. Also, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to smash the like button and subscribe for more amazing football content. We will end it there. Thank you and take it easy. Peace.
I see the blue in her eyes from the sunshine. See the purple in her heart when it's nighttime. She just wanna be in her right mind. She couldn't give a damn about the limelight. So orchestrate your